Hello and welcome to Patched. I'm your host, Paul James. Today I'm joined by Matto Phillips. How's things, mate?
Ah, yeah, cold, windy,
Cold.
miserable.
Yeah, it's a real stinker around here at the moment.
It is winter as expected. Finally,
Yeah, it's not been pleasant, but we got there eventually, so I guess we'll
unlike
we'll just have to deal.
unlike Game of Thrones, it only took one season for winter to come, not six.
Yeah, and then the ending was pretty
Well, let's not
a
talk
bit of a
about
letdown.
that. Let's
Yeah.
not let's not talk about it.
All right, so for anyone who's, I guess, listening, you won't see what we've got up on the screen, but we're doing a tier maker episode today. Matto was scrounging around and found this one here dedicated to, I guess, what was the specific title? It was best like developers and studios or something like that. Anyway,
Something like that.
but it's an interesting mix where it's kind of got like the all the publishers and then really like the biggest of the big studios, and in some cases some of those studios have been broken out from their publishers. So if anyone's looking at the list right now, you might see things like Naughty Dog and Insomniac or Dice and Blizzard, and they've all been kind of separated from their Activisions or PlayStations or whoever it is they belong to. So there's some little exceptions to the rule in terms of the way it's been assembled, but should make for a good episode anyway. So I guess let's jump into it. Are you looking at it as well, or
Yes, I am, and I will say it was a choice between. Well, it was three choices. I found it was this one. Rating the Mass Effect side characters.
I did see that one as we were scrolling through for
And
alternatives.
I was looking at it and thought that's just stupid because most of it is going to be S tier or A tier anyway, and the DLC can just go to the bottom, so that was pointless. And then the other one was Nintendo games, also pointless because they would be S tier or A tier. Anyway, so I was looking
Pretty much, yeah.
pretty much, and then I thought, oh, maybe I could find EA or something and see. That was the first off, and then magically enough, I found this one. I thought, brilliant.
Yeah, we'll work with it. I think it'll be good, and there'll be some good conversation as we get to some of the. I think some of the studios have been broken out. It'll be interesting the way they've got it assembled, and people who are watching the video version can probably work that out just from looking at it. Those in audio, you'll learn soon enough. So we'll start at the top, and I assume I haven't shuffled things out of order by mistake at some point when I was messing around with it, but we'll see how we go. First up is Deep Silver, who, as I look at this entire list, could be one of the could be one of the worst. Like we might be starting with a weak one. But what's your gut say? And for everyone listening, we've got S, A, B, C, and D tiers available to us.
No E and F on this one, just
Yeah, we're
five levels.
I guess thankfully no one in this list stoops that low that they belong in perhaps an E or an F tier. So Deep Silver, what are you thinking?
Wow. Just trying to think, I was trying to look at all the games that Deep Silver have done. They've done many games, many mobile games, but then I remembered they made Saints Row, and I thought rubbish. But they also did make the Metro games.
Yeah,
And some
well
other
they
games.
publish Metro.
Published
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But the main thing was Saints Row, which came out last year. It was rubbish. They also made old Chorves as well.
Oh yeah, they did publish Chorves.
Which that wasn't that bad, but
Yeah.
overall, when you look at it,
I feel like they're a C.
yeah.
Like they're not bad, but they're not really
Hey,
kicking goals
that-
or anything either.
Yeah, there's no games out there that make you say, "Oh wow, what a great game they made." No, it's just like
Yeah, exactly.
it's like, "Oh, they made a game, excellent."
So next up then is Sega, which would include, I'm pretty sure they haven't been broken out separately. That includes Atlas, so the Persona and like all that kind of side of things as well. What's your gut say?
Well, I say if you just took out all the Sonic games they've been trying to make and make Sonic cool for all these years, I'd put them straight into S tier.
You reckon they're S? I suppose they got
Maybe
Yakuza and Persona and all that sort of stuff. So
I
it
was
kind of
gonna
checks
say
out.
Dreamcast, but that's
Well,
not,
yeah,
that's not,
we can cast that one away.
but no,
But then,
I'd probably
but we do have to factor in that
Yeah.
Sonic exists and
Yeah.
sticks.
so that drops it down a lot, unfortunately, because
B?
a B.
You reckon
Sorry,
B?
B. Sorry, but Sonic, I know you've been trying to flog him for years, and you've just never got it right since
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2 back in the 90s. Even
Yeah,
Mario
they've
couldn't
kind of
save
really
him.
struggled with that. So
Mario couldn't even save him in Smash Brothers or these silly Olympic games. People just forgot he existed. It's like, oh hey, there's Sonic, and then
we would have
oh, he's
liked
got
for
a
Sonic
game.
to no longer exist, but here we are, I guess.
Like, oh hey, here's a Sonic game, kids, and everyone's just like, nah, it's rubbish. I want Mario.
So next up to the plate then is Valve, who I guess they're an interesting one because They don't do much very often.
say, when was the last game they made besides
Half-Life Alex. Half-Life Alex,
That was
which
it?
was what, 2020,
Portal?
2021, and then we're going a long way back prior to that. So I feel like
What
that
about-
actually is a
What
knock
about
against them.
Portal?
But even
Do they have
Portal, even Portal 2 was like
Well, that's been a long
20,
time. It was last decade, that's for sure. When? I can't remember.
2012 is the number I've got in my head. I reckon like 2012, 2013. So it was certainly, I mean, it was pre the, like, it was the back end of the PS4, PS3. Sorry, PS3, Xbox 360, I should say. So, yeah, I reckon 2012 for that. So you've got Portal 2 and then Half-Life Alex 8-ish years later. Like, it's, I mean, they do cool stuff with the Steam Deck, but I think we should probably try and keep the hardware side of it out, because obviously that's
Nice.
not a level playing ground. You've got only a
And
few
also-
competitors then.
And also, it's not in Australia, so cancel that out.
Well, you can get it through the grey market, I guess. Like, you can buy it from Woolworths, just to be clear.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah, you can
No.
buy Steam Deck through Woolworths. Yeah.
The Woolworths?
Yeah.
That's not food or toilet paper. That makes no sense. No one's going
they-
to panic buy a Steam Deck. That's just silly.
Yeah, you can get it through Woolworths,
say
you can get it through
Costco.
Amazon, you can get it through Dick Smith, you can get it through a whole bunch of places these
Dick
days.
Smith.
Yeah.
Even Dick Smith. I'll say,
Who's
I'm surprised
basically
Costco.
closed. Yeah.
I'm surprised Costco doesn't have a whole pallet of them.
Give it
their
time.
Xbox. Give it time. They'll find a whole pallet full of Steam Decks and people will go bananas for it. But unless...
When I
Yeah,
finally have money,
membership.
I'll be one of those going bananas for it.
And then they realize they don't have a membership, so no Steam Deck for you.
So, I guess on the software front, like the quality of the stuff is, you know, they belong in kind of the S tier, but because they don't put
make
them out, I
much.
feel like that's got to work against them, and it leaves kind of probably talking A or B is my gut feel. It probably depends on how harsh we want to be, because it's been, you know, basically 2 games in a decade.
Yeah, but I would say their games are well received by pretty much everyone, so I'd put them as an A.
Works for me.
Because you look at it and go, are they dud games? No.
So,
Everyone keeps talking about Half-Life like, all these years later. And
Yeah.
I've never understood it. But I haven't played it that well, so...
yeah, I haven't played enough Half-Life, and I would play Half-Life Alex if they just brought it across to PSVR 2. But anyway, that's another conversation. 2K games, which, you know, is where we see things like BioShock, and we see
Borderlands?
Borderlands, but I think Gearbox is
Probably.
broken out separately, so we'll have to probably separate them in this particular instance. We see like Marvel's Midnight Suns. I don't think Firaxis got broken out separately, if I recall. We get the NBA games, we get the WWE games, we get the which is probably a mark against them, the WWE ones. We get the golf games they've been putting out. Like
Was
they
they making
do-
a Lego game? Was it a racing game?
yeah, there was the Lego 2K Drive recently. They're doing like a Lego 2K Goal. Like it's got lots of O's in it, like soccer. It's a soccer game,
Oh, no.
and they put lots of O's in it for like the way they pronounce goal, like I just did then. They don't put out bad stuff. They don't. I mean, 2K it's weird because 2K is like one branch. Like everything kind of is under the Take Two umbrella, which it has 2K as one vertical. You've got Private Division, which is another, and that's where you got things like the Outer Worlds in the first place. And then you've got the other vertical, which is Rockstar, and Rockstar is broken out separately here. I feel like at the absolute best, 2K is like an A. But it depends on how heavily we want to dock them for.
I don't know. I just look at their sports games. Like you look at WWE 2K, like not this year's one, like the last few ones, they've not been well received.
Well, that's
they've
where I was like,
been
kind of like at an A
incredibly-
as an absolute best case scenario for them, because obviously they do get propped up by Midnight Suns and those sorts of games that are fantastic, but then they get pulled down by WWE 2K, which is genuinely horrible. And then the NBA 2K games, which have been pretty much the same shit for years, and they just keep nickel and diming, which leaves a bad taste in the mouth. I
with
feel like
their
B.
stupid casino. Yeah, B.
B.
With their silly microtransactions in NBA games, which is the reason why I don't play NBA games anymore for that.
That's fair.
Rubbish.
It's a good
And
call.
like you say too, it's pretty much the same game every year. And I get angry at the same time every year.
New
It's like,
opportunity to
bullshit.
squeeze you out every dollar and cent you've got. Epic Games. I mean, they obviously do Fortnite, but they've got their publishing arms these days. They are doing, like, they're publishing Alan Wake 2, for example. They published Alan Wake, the remaster there. They've got a whole bunch of studios that they've partnered up with that have got stuff coming down the line. Just to be clear, that's the Ori developers. Moon Studios is one of those teams that they've partnered up with. They got, I think they locked down That Game Company, so it's in the Journey folks. They've grabbed a whole bunch of really talented teams, so to work with. They haven't bought them, but
I was going to say, no one's complaining about that.
No, you take your Fortnite money. Harmonix is like one studio that they did buy, and they started doing like live music gigs for Fortnite. But anyway, at the moment, I feel like at best it can be a B, because obviously like Fortnite's this phenomenon and whatnot. It's not really our shtick for the most part, but they can and probably will shoot up to A and S once these games that they're publishing start coming out. Like if they've got the right eye for stuff. I think they're working with Playdead as well, actually. So the Limbo
I
inside
just can remember their Gears of War games. That's all I think.
Oh, yeah.
Straight away, I think. But then there's Fortnite, and I hate Fortnite. I don't know.
Most of
I
that Gears talent is gone too. Like most of them either went to the Coalition or went off and did their own thing like Cliffy did. So they're not there even.
No. What are they doing at Coalition then? I thought they would have nailed the Gears of War franchise.
Well, to be fair, Gears 4 was like your Star Wars Force Awakens, and Gears 5 I thought was fantastic. It's just the divisive ending, which we still probably shouldn't talk about. But that's kind of a sticking point for some people. B though?
Yeah.
Does that feel right? Blizzard, who are obviously pretty fresh off Diablo 4. World of Warcraft still going strongish. I think these days it's probably the following or chasing the tail of Final Fantasy 14, but that's fine because World of Warcraft's been out for like 20 years. They've probably earned the chance to kind of fall back in the pack just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Diablo Immortal was still it's still huge despite the fact that it's kind of got
the old joke game.
It nickels and dimes. Yeah, is this an April Fool's joke? I feel like they're an A.
You can also throw in Overwatch as well.
Oh, Overwatch, yeah, sorry. Which has its problems, and that probably stops them from being an S, to be fair. What else are they doing? They're working on a survival game at the moment. They've announced a survival game that's in development.
So is everyone else.
Well, yeah, there's that too. Yeah, that Battle Royale.
That is the new thing, survival games. And Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. I don't think we can go as high as an S, but does A feel right for you? Or
A does feel right for Blizzard.
Right. Next one who I think we might be docking a little bit harder, treating a bit harder.
Yeah, Battlefield
DICE?
was great.
Battlefront had all its problems as well.
Battlefront. Yeah. Battlefront.
They're not a D team, but when you compare them to everyone else in the pack,
they're very
they
D.
probably are at the moment. Yeah, in this group, I should say. Sorry, DICE. It's when we compare you to the entire industry, you're absolutely not a D tier team. But compared to your competition in today's tier maker, that's where you belong. CD Projekt Red.
At the same time, too, with DICE, you can't fully blame them for their rubbish
well, a lot
games.
of it's been EA.
You can throw it at EA as well for their stupid Battlefront.
That's true.
Thinking surprise mechanics garbage and making them look bad and force them to say, "Oh, sorry, it's their fault." Oh, the stupid surprise mechanics.
Surprise mechanics. Good value, that stuff. CD Projekt Red. I'll throw it to you first. How much was the Cyberpunk initial bad taste in the mouth a factor in this?
Oh, if you said to start off with, I'd drop it down to B because it was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, they can lean on their Witcher 3 stuff, but of course, yeah, Cyberpunk was pretty awful, the situation at the beginning.
However, it's been, I can't remember, 2.5 years? I think it's been 2.5 years since it came out.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Long time. 2.5 years, and I completely forgot that the game is rubbish now because it is actually pretty good if you haven't gone back and played it yet.
I still haven't done that yet.
I still want to go back and play it again, see if they've improved it.
Well, you're going to jump on the DLC that's coming out?
Of course.
Yeah. So
Keanu Reeves was there to present it. Say no more. That's all. He was there, just walked out the door, and off he went. He was done for the day. He's like, here's the game, here's the preview, blah blah blah. Like, no worries, Keanu. I'll be waiting in September behind Starfield.
Do you reckon it's a case of they were S at the end of The Witcher, 3. They dropped to a B because of Cyberpunk, but they've now lifted themselves back to an A because of how they've fixed Cyberpunk.
Yes.
Done.
And then they're remaking the first Witcher game, which you probably say that would be good anyway, and I think their DLCs are going to be good as well, because I don't think they're going to stuff up the same thing twice. That's for sure.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
No
well, all the
chance.
performance stuff's kind of been ironed out now, so they're just kind of building a world inside something that's already fixed. So it should be okay in that sense. Next up is PlayStation, but we've got to make sure we disclose in case anyone hasn't seen it, especially if you're listening to the show. That doesn't include Naughty Dog and Insomniac Games, who have been broken out separately. And if you want to get really technical, Bungie's also separate because they're part of the Sony vertical and not the PlayStation one these days. I also don't know when this was made, so they may not have been bought at that particular point. So PlayStation minus Naughty Dog and Insomniac. So it still leaves your Santa Monica's, your Bend Studios, all the European ones, all the Japanese studios, well, the I guess the remains of the Japanese studios, Sucker Punch, Guerrilla. I feel like it's still
an S.
I think it's still an S.
No matter what, you take out Naughty Dog, and what was the other one? Insomniac. It's still an S, because you got Horizon, you got Ghost of Tsushima. I was going to say throw in Crash Bandicoot, but that's Naughty Dog. There was another game I was trying to think of, but I completely forgot about it. What's another?
Wait, from who? Sorry.
From going in the PlayStation Studio side of things.
In terms of who the big studios are, so you've got.
Yeah, Returnal. I forgot it.
Oh, Housemarque, who I wouldn't call them necessarily one of the big ones yet, but of course, yeah, they're firing, like shooting the lights out though with something like Returnal. So, yeah, I think they're a pretty obvious S even without those other two. Which maybe while we're at it, do we just toss them up there straight away? Like, do Insomniac and Naughty Dog belong in the S tier?
Of course.
Insomniac, because they just continue to churn out 8.5 to 9s.
But also, you asked the question: name a bad game by Insomniac.
Yeah, Fuse. Yeah. But that was EA.
There's the problem right there. And then you look at Naughty Dog, name the bad game by them. You can't. Don't say The Last of Us Part 2 because you're a bunch of homophobe dickheads. You can get lost.
Yeah, exactly. Next up is Arc System Works, who's probably the studio I know the least about through the entire thing. Like, I know they do their kind of their fighting games, and they're genuinely meant to be fantastic ones. I think they did like the Dragon Ball Fighters, for example. A lot of those BlazBlue games. I think I've got all that right. I hope I'm not misrepresenting them. I'm pretty sure that's the case. But I don't know. Like, they're really niche still. I feel like they can't. Like, they're not getting this big crazy universal appeal no matter what they do. So I feel like at best they could be an A at best.
If we knew more about them, which unfortunately
you're not getting much as you dig them up.
No, I found something. Got Guilty Gear. What else we got?
Family Pirate like Guilty Gear Strike.
I find some of this more. Just all games I don't actually know.
Guilty Gear. A lot of them are like really niche fighting games. So Guilty Gear Strive, Dragon Ball Fighters, BlazBlue. They're all meant to be like really fantastic fighting games, and Dragon Ball Fighters is, as much as I really only came in the door because it's Dragon Ball. But
whoa. Put them in S tier because they made Double Dragon back in 1988. That's just.
Did they really?
Yeah, on the Sega.
I didn't realize they were that old a team, but do they belong in S tier then as a result?
No, of course not.
Do we keep them in A? Because they don't miss.
But however, they also made Battletoads or Battletoads on the Sega.
That's weird. That's a rare thing. They might have just been part of the porting.
I would say so because they all look
That's
like
a rare
Sega
game.
Yeah, it's a rare game. It says it's Sega as well, so I'm guessing they'll just ported it to Sega. That's what I get. Yeah, sure.
A or B?
Not? Yeah. I'll give them the benefit of doubt.
Their games aren't bad. That's the thing. Like, despite the fact that I've not really played them, their games aren't bad. It's just that they don't get that big mass market appeal. Probably outside of Dragon Ball, but that's because they leverage the Dragon Ball license. So I don't know. Bandai Namco. Again, I feel like at best they could be A, but they do put out their flops as well. Like, they lean heavily on their anime games, and those typically are like all right at best most of the time. They have Tales, which is great, but their big ticket stuff is their work with FromSoft. So they've got Dark Souls, Elden Ring, all that sort of stuff. So even Armored Core coming up. So again, I feel like it feels like a bit like the CD Projekt thing where you go, oh, FromSoft, S, but then you start docking things from there, and that pulls them back down. But I guess how far do most of those shitty anime games pull them down?
Does anyone remember those shitty anime games?
Oh, no, there's hardly any that are anything to write home about. But like they do all the Dragon Ball Budokais and Tenkaichis. They do the Naruto's, like Naruto to Boruto and whatever, all these things. Like they do so many of them every year. I feel like they're a B team because as much as I love Tales and I appreciate, despite the fact that I don't enjoy the Souls games, there's just too much of the shit quality farmed out stuff that I just I think
fair enough.
Sticks. Here's an interesting one: Activision.
Well, it's a tough one.
Which is interesting because Treyarch has been separated from the thing. Like one of their Call of Duty teams was ripped out of here.
So
1/3 of the Call of Duty machine.
Just Tony Hawk then. That's all they've got.
Tony Hawk, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro. You've still got Sledgehammer and Infinity Ward on the Call of Duty side, but Sledgehammer is probably the weakest of the three these days, and Infinity Ward isn't what it was before Vince left to go form. They made Star Wars Jedi.
Oh, Respawn.
Respawn, yeah.
And look at him now.
Yeah, look at him. Well, he just doesn't miss. Good. He just does not miss. But B, especially when you take out one leg of the Call of Duty machine.
The one that makes all the Call of Duty games, and yeah, you got to say B. As much as I love Tony Hawk,
do we handle Treyarch while we're at it?
Might as well. Oh yeah. Put them as an A.
Yeah, I'd probably say so.
Because they're Call of Duty games. They're not. I would say you wouldn't go, oh wow, that's a great game, unless it's Modern Warfare 2, the old one, not the recent one. Even though people say it's good. Well, no, because it's still downloaded on my Xbox, so I'll never know.
We'll see. They did just give away Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War for PlayStation Plus this month, so I'm going to jump in and give that a crack. I don't know if that was a Treyarch job or not. I think it might be. I think Treyarch would be that, but I guess they're throwing one final bone to PlayStation before the deal gets sealed, probably this week. We'll see what happens. Bethesda, which includes your Bethesda game studios, your Elder Scrolls, your Fallouts, your Starfields, but also includes some shitty titles like Redfall, for example, or I don't know. I feel like we're honing in on Redfall. That was my fault there. I feel like I'm honing in on Redfall, but outside of it, they do Dishonored. They do a whole bunch of amazing things out of there. Plus I feel like they're A or S, and that you probably can't go any lower than A. But what's your
you would probably say
it is separated too, to be clear for anyone listening.
Yes, I would say S because the only bad game out of it all is Redfall
and Fallout 76.
And Fallout 76, which
all of the Fallouts, but I know that's my opinion, so I'll check that at the door. All right, that's
Skyrim. Everyone still talks about Skyrim all these years later.
Even Elder Scrolls Online is amazing. I just need to.
And just also remember too that Skyrim has had 17 remasters, while Banjo-Kazooie has had 0, which is an outrage.
Rare replay. That's it.
Rare replay, and that's it. And Xbox decided to buy and go, hey, we'll make it look slightly better, but not do much with it. But here's nuts and bolts. So like, no, that's a stupid game.
It's a stupid idea. All right, Bungie. So Destiny developers, but also still the geniuses behind Halo.
Halo 1 to 3.
Though importantly, 343 has been broken out when it comes to the Microsoft side as well. So, but Bungie. So the geniuses behind Halo, they're working on Marathon. They're also doing Destiny, or Destiny 2. And probably working on Destiny 3 at this point. And they're going around and telling PlayStation Studios also, by the way, that your game's no good, you can't show it. Like the way they kind of took the blowtorch to The Last of Us multiplayer recently. Did you hear about that?
No.
The reason, so you know how The Last of Us multiplayer was kind of meant to be shown and it got delayed? Like it was...
Yes.
It was basically because Bungie's been given all the power to go around and check in on all the live server stuff, and basically they were essentially, if I'm paraphrasing, like the game just wasn't up to standard in their sort of eyes, and so
they went
back to the drawing board.
I'll say they would know because they do multiplayer games. So if you're
And that's
gonna,
the thing. Like, I reckon it's probably an excellent game, but in terms of what it needs to be on the PlayStation side, like, and what they want it to be in terms of like a game as service, it clearly wasn't up to it, and so they've come through and gone, "It's not. This ain't it. You might have made an amazing game, but this is not going to make you money." And so they've had to
so
go
just
away
take
and think
another.
about it.
You might as well just keep it for the Last of Us Part 3.
Yeah, at this point, which
Just-
is
I would say at this
bubbled up
point,
this week.
Last of Us, I say Last of Us Part 3 is going to come out before the multiplayer for the Last of Us Part 2 at this stage.
Yeah, I'd say you're right. So I feel like with all that said, Bungie's probably an S tier.
Yeah.
They haven't put a toe
So
wrong,
same again. I would say, yeah, same again. Like you say, name a bad game by Bungie,
and you
you
can't.
can't.
I don't think.
unless you argue about Destiny.
Yeah, the original launch of Destiny, but
that
yeah.
was
It wasn't a
just
bad
remember
game
who-
either.
So just remember who they were under. They were under Activision.
Yeah, and it wasn't a bad game either. It was just, and
No.
it was also really like the first crack at this whole shared world experience thing too. So there was always going to be growing pains and things you can learn. Capcom, Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, Street Fighter, Devil May Cry.
And that's all in the last 5 years.
Yeah,
Some of those.
Their
they can't
current
put a
form
foot
is
wrong.
their current form
Yeah.
is perfect. I feel like that's one of the easiest S's of the lot.
Oh yeah, because you look at, like we said, we're trying to, we're doing this. I don't know if we're doing this off air or on air. We'll try to scratch our heads and go, name the last bad Capcom game. We couldn't.
And we
really,
went back a long way.
We went back a really long way. We thought they've just nailed everything. Their remakes are great. Their Monster Hunter games are great. Street
The
Fighter's
new Resident
apparently
Evils
great.
have been awesome.
Their first-person version of Resident Evil's great. Their VR, all this. I mean, they can't put a foot wrong.
Yeah, they're kind of untouchable at the moment. So until they screw that up, they're S tier in my eyes, like yours. Ubisoft, who I guess to be fair, like they're not putting out bad games. They're just feeling very similar, which I think takes them off the cards for an S. But I think still makes
It
them an A. I think
Makes
it
them
still
an
makes
A.
them an A. Like I would, if I look at who we've put in the B tier with Sega and Bandai Namco and Activision, I would. But then also, I don't know if I feel like there's like a B plus tier in the middle here somewhere. Like I feel like they really sit between.
They
Like
should.
they're not up to a Blizzard or a CD Projekt Red, but they are above what Activision as a general rule is doing, and they're above what Sega's doing for the most part. Again, obviously they've got their Yakuzas, they've got their Personas, but so I guess which way do we go?
I'd say B, put it as a B, because
Yeah, maybe B. If they're not up to the A standard, then they've got to be B.
I'd say they're generally, their games aren't, like you say, terrible. They're just
Same.
similar. Just same. So Assassin's Creed, all the same. Ghost Recon wasn't that great.
Yeah.
Division, good, but it's better with friends. I'm trying to remember the other Ubisoft one. Hyperscape.
Yeah.
No one talks about it anymore. It's disappeared.
No, it's dead. It's dead.
Dead.
We're just waiting to see
Officially
what happens with
dead.
X Defiant. That's the one to watch, which does seem like it's actually tracking pretty well for them. So
But then
see
you
what
also look to the future for Ubisoft. Star Wars.
Assassin's Creed everywhere.
Assassin's Creed everywhere. Star Wars.
Yeah, that's true. They definitely couldn't slip to a C. Whereas the next team, the studio, I think probably is these days Rare. They've got all of the back catalogue that is amazing. Sea of Thieves is good now, but it took them years to make Sea of Thieves into something great. Everwild is in all sorts of trouble. It's apparently gone back to the drawing board a lot as well. And if you take Sea of Thieves out of it, they've done nothing for
20 years.
yeah, for a long time.
25 years.
Since like the early Xbox 360 era with Viva Pinata and
I
stuff.
was gonna say
Perfect Dark Zero,
Ghoulies.
but yeah, good point. So I feel like they're a C. Like I don't think that.
I would say if you said their Nintendo era, it would be definitely an S, but their Xbox era is a D.
So then, do we need to put them
Yeah,
down there with Dice?
I wouldn't. Oh, it's a tough one.
I think
'cause
because
if
Sea
you
of
look
Thieves is
at-
still good, whereas Battlefield they've not been able to fix Battlefield or Battlefront, really.
No, they haven't.
So maybe it does. Yeah, it probably just survives in the sea. Mojang. I want to say now this is not. Oh shit! I don't know how to do this without
Tough
my
one.
Minecraft bias creeping in. I want to say D because. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
go
I
on.
don't,
Go
I don't
on.
like Minecraft, but Dungeons and what was the one that came out that was like the tower defensey style one?
I don't know.
Um,
Like I
the one that came out earlier this year.
I know the one you're talking about.
Like
I
neither of them
just
have been any good. They haven't been received well, and I'm not talking about my own opinion because I haven't played them. I'm not going near them. But like the opinions of others haven't been great. Nintendo, Microsoft just kind of releases them and then kind of forgets about them. They're not trying to support it. They're not trying to fix them up. And then otherwise, they're just like living on the work that the core team did 20 years ago or 15 years ago. So I feel like they're a D. I just don't feel like they've done anything to warrant being higher.
no, yeah, no. I say throw it as a D then, because I'm
You're
the
good with
same
that?
thing. I'm the same thing because when I ever hear the words Minecraft, just go, I don't care.
Yeah,
Do not care.
this will be an interesting one. BioWare.
Eee. It is a tough one.
On potential, they should be an S. But what
However,
they've
the
delivered since Mass
last
Effect,
few years,
since Mass Effect
Dragon
Andromeda came out.
Age, no, since I'll say Dragon Age Inquisition. After that,
Oh yeah.
it's really been downhill since
Oh
then.
yeah. Sorry, I meant like so from Andromeda onwards, which was obviously that was Anthem, and that's
That's it.
it. Yeah.
Unless you want to add in the Star Wars online.
Oh yeah. That actually they just announced the other
that's
day that they're handballing that off. They're finally letting go of Old Republic and passing that on to some other team to just continue it, which is
Oh.
interesting.
Well, D then. No, of course not.
I feel like they're a B because the potential's still there. And I think EA has worked out that we need to give them the space and time to do their jobs properly again.
And also to not let them do a stupid online multiplayer game.
Yeah, that was apparently what
does
Dragon
not
Age
work.
was meant to be.
Oh God, don't do that.
And
Please
then
don't.
somewhere
No.
along the way they realized that was a bad idea. Maybe it was after they saw Anthem. I don't know, but um,
Of course,
B?
it's sort
B,
of
C?
yes. I'd say B because
yeah,
I think overall, like the Mass Effect games, great. Dragon Age, great. But Andromeda went backwards from what
Yeah,
Mass Effect,
that's
or
fair.
what people think Mass Effect is. And then they brought out the Legendary Edition, and people just remembered how good Mass Effect was. And then there was Anthem, which was from day one till it died was an absolute disaster. And that's
Yeah.
all thanks to EA.
yeah, it's all EA. Which EA's one will be interesting soon because their most talented studios or their biggest studios have already been pulled out with Dice and Bio. Actually, let's slot EA now. With
Yeah.
what's left when you take everyone like those key studios out, you've got The Sims, you've got
Need for
EA
Speed.
Sports, Need for Speed. It's definitely C
Takes
or
Two.
D. Hey.
It Takes Two.
Oh yeah, EA Originals. Yeah, I feel like that needs to get them out of the D range. I think that puts them back in the C range. The EA Originals they haven't missed, but all their other stuff probably pulls them back down. So
I see. I think their past was incredibly bad.
yeah,
'Cause all they thought was people don't enjoy a storied game, which is absolutely one of the
factually
stupidest things.
wrong.
Wrong, if because Star Wars Jedi games prove that absolutely
Oh,
wrong.
of course, yeah. The
Yeah.
Respawn's still part of that. So shit. Does that actually take them back up to?
Well,
B?
just respawn. Yeah, respawn on their own. Sure, put them to a B. If you
let's
put
move 'em up to a
respawn,
B.
if you put respawn in that list, I would have put them straight into an S tier
Yeah,
or an
Um,
A or S, because they have made EA look good after they made an absolute mess of Dice,
everything else.
and
Yeah.
everything else.
Respawn has kept them going, and also they had their motive team put out Dead Space earlier this year, which was great. So I guess I probably sold them a bit short initially. Next up is Gearbox, which is an interesting one because I guess if we're like comparing developers, we're saying are they? I don't know. Like I feel like it's the A B range with all their Borderlandses and then Tiny Tina, but you
Then
I guess the conversation
Alien.
is your A tier is CD Projekt Red and Treyarch. Your B tier is BioWare, and then your C
got those-
tier is like in terms of actual individual developers, and then your C tier is Rare. They're obviously above Rare,
I think you're saying it's always that B plus situation again,
which probably means we need to say
which we
B.
don't have. It would say B because yes, Borderlands, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, great, but then you've got Godfall,
Duke Nukem.
Duke Nukem Forever. There was another game, Alien.
Yeah,
Colonial
Aliens
Marines.
Colonial Marines.
That Battleborn game that died.
Yeah,
on
true.
day
Yeah, they
one.
need to be B. Yeah, that's a good point. Borderlands is the thing that kind of keeps them going. That's their. Oh, here we go. I didn't take a look. So 343 Studios is next.
Boards. Do you give it a D for all everyone leave it, or
But
do you
they're
give it
they're not.
not D for, definitely
They're
not
not.
D?
Yeah, they're not. I think they're C. Like they're
They've been very
Equal
hit
with-
and miss.
equal with Rare, just typical Xbox swimming in C's.
Well, also throw Microsoft Studios in D then if this is the case.
Well, let's deal with
got-
Microsoft Studios while we're at it. There's no other Microsoft Studios here, is there?
Obsidian's there.
Oh, Obsidian there. They're S, right?
Oh yeah,
They're
Well, they're
Microsoft,
exactly
they're
the same as
Microsoft's
Respawn.
Insomniac. Yeah, and
they're making
Insomniac.
them look good.
Let's deal with Microsoft, yeah, while we're at it. Microsoft Game Studios, C. Because
Yeah.
you've still got Coalition, you've still got Turn 10, you've still got Playground with Forzas and Gears and Fable now.
And then you got all the other studios that haven't really done much.
Yeah, we're waiting. So they're probably the group of all this with the most potential, but we're waiting for it to be delivered at this point. So for now, C, but lots of geez, I feel like I'm being harsh with C. So we had a quick tech issue there, but we're moving on. We're on to Rockstar, who I think are one of the easy S's, right?
Yeah, of course.
And are working on Red Dead Redemption Remastered, as we've learnt.
Finally,
Not officially yet, but you can take it to the bank. It's
So
been
they
confirmed
realised
by Colin Moriarty. There's quite a few rumors. He's confirmed it in that he's seen something about it from someone that must work there.
finally realised that AI does a terrible job at remakes.
We don't know still if it's.
Oh no.
We still don't know any of that sort of stuff yet. So
yeah.
hold yourself back on that one. But we'll wait and see for that. But yeah, otherwise, GTA 6 is going to be huge. It's going to be the biggest game for the 5 years either side of it for the most part.
Then there'll be a Red Dead Redemption 3, and everyone's going to go crazy for that too. Just don't
100%.
make it 10 times bigger than Red Dead Redemption 2, please. I don't want to run my
That's
horse
enough.
for 15
That's
minutes. That's way too much.
id, Doom Eternal is all their recent stuff, and they've been amazing. Obviously, they assisted with Rage 2, but that wasn't their.
They didn't
That
do
wasn't really their
Wolfenstein?
project. They didn't do Wolfenstein.
That was Machine. That was Machine.
That's
Games,
Machine
wasn't it?
Games. Yep.
Or let's say it's not an A. Or that's a tough one. It's definitely not S. But don't know if it's an A.
Yeah, I don't know if they're because individual developers that are in the S tier at the moment are Insomniac, Naughty Dog, Bungie, and Obsidian. I feel like talent-wise they belong with like an Obsidian or a Bungie. Like the games are that good, but it's just that. And then so in A we've got Blizzard, CD Projekt, and Treyarch.
It
Yeah,
is
they're
a
probably.
tough one.
It is a tough one. They feel like the A plus, like the in between, which probably means again similar to the B plus thing. We probably need to say that they're an A, right?
Yeah.
That's hard.
They're
I feel
not quite-
I
they're
feel
not
like
quite
we've been
S.
harsh, but yeah,
They're not quite the S. Not
they're
quite.
super close. Here's an easy S, Nintendo. Just do it, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, Pikmin alone gives them an S tier. Just don't even worry about Mario. Just Pikmin, whatever. Donkey Kong. Or no, I've seen Donkey Kong in years, so don't worry about him. What's
But
that?
Mario, Zelda,
Luigi's
Luigi's
Mansion. Of course.
Mansion. Oh,
S tier
God
for
tier.
sure.
That
is gold tier right there.
Yeah, they don't miss. They've got everything on lock these days.
And let's not forget Kirby as a cone, as Witch.
Oh yeah, Kirby and the
That's
Forgotten
S
Lands
tier.
is like the best game that franchise has seen, and they've all been pretty at least solid for forever. Rocksteady, they should be S. If you go Batman: Arkham Asylum, Origins, and sorry, not Origins, Asylum City and Night, you'd go,
Yeah.
and even Arkham VR, you'd go S. But they are having a lot of
Suicide.
problems with Suicide Squad.
Yeah, see, that's what happens with internet connection games. Bad. Even when it doesn't get
hasn't come back on my router, so it's a good thing I've got the hotspot here.
So even when it doesn't get well received at the state of play, and everyone just goes, "That looks horrible," you know you're in trouble.
Does it cause him to slide down to as low as a B?
I don't know because it's not out.
We don't
yet, so
actually-
you can't really judge it.
So maybe we go A because we're uneasy.
A pending.
Yeah, like you're no longer an S. You've concerned us enough with this that you're no longer an S. But it could be a slippery slope. So we'll wait and see. Square Enix. Now, obviously, fresh off Final Fantasy, they've also offloaded their Western studios that they weren't jiving with. So they lost Tomb Raider, they lost Deus Ex, they lost Marvel's Avengers. No big loss there. But they still, they have their Final Fantasies, they have their Dragon Quest, they have Nier, they have Kingdom Hearts. They have oh shit, the name just left on me. Foam Stars. They have the all important Foam Stars.
Oh, D.
Which, to be fair, I don't know if you've heard this. Like everyone who went hands on with Foam Stars at Summer Games Fest, so many of them were putting it in their top 10 games from Summer Games Fest.
Oh really?
Without even joking, they were talking about how brilliant it was.
I'm shocked. It looks horrible on paper.
It looks awful in that trailer. Admittedly, it was all CG. We didn't see gameplay, but yeah, they were all pumping it up. I was stumped, completely floored by the whole thing, but I'll trust them.
I wonder how much they got paid to say that. How much did Jim pay them to say? Oh wait, no, it's not a Jim Ryan thing. That's Final Fantasy 16. How much did Square Enix pay all those writers to say, put this in your top 10? Here's a bag of money.
Well, I mean, Foam Stars I think is exclusive to PlayStation as well. So
okay. So
Jim might have had a bit to do with it, but I feel like they're an A because for every Final Fantasy and Octopath Traveler and all those things I kind of rattled off before, they then have a Forspoken that kind of flops.
Yeah.
Or Kingdom Hearts with a ridiculous subtitle.
Or a number.
Yeah. Or they put out like 8 games in the space of 2 months and then let them all die. Like Star Ocean came out and Valkyrie Elysium came out and Direfield Chronicle came out. And there's just... I think they're A, they can't be S despite the fact that they put out a whole bunch of S-tier games. WB.
Oh, D.
Really?
Absolute D. Gotham Knights. Is that WD?
Yeah, yeah, Gotham Knights, but then they still have,
Gollum?
No.
No?
No.
Actually,
what am I... Oh, jeez. Maybe they do belong there. What am I not thinking of? WB games. I need to Google this to make sure that I feel like I'm just forgetting something really obvious.
Or are we talking about Injustice?
Well, they do have Injustice and they do have NetherRealm, which gives them Mortal Kombat as well.
Okay. Okay, well that's the case then. Take them out of the D if they've got Mortal Kombat.
So they've got Mortal Kombat coming up. They do all the Lego games, Injustice, the Batman games prior, obviously, but that we've separated that with Rocksteady. They like the Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War games, which obviously Shadow of War was lesser, but Shadow of Mordor was like my favorite game of 2014. Admittedly, it was a shit year. They put out Hogwarts Legacy this year.
Oh well, they put them up to a. Oh, it's almost a B plus.
B? Yeah.
Why couldn't this thing have pluses?
Yeah, to be
really, really annoying.
They're gonna make us choose. We've got 2 to go. Telltale Games, which is a really interesting one. This is like one of the hardest ones to do because they're only about, like, as of when we record this, they're like a week or 2 away from launching The Expanse, which is basically their first game since basically rising from the ashes after everything that went on. And I feel like they weren't putting out bad games even at that point. Like, their games were still great. They were working on the final season of The Walking Dead, which was amazing. It's just management was shit, and so they weren't getting the money that they needed and they went bust. But the games were still high quality, I thought, with the exception of... the Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't great. Game of Thrones was alright. Minecraft Story Mode I couldn't care less about, but that's...
Minecraft?
Apparently Minecraft Story Mode was amazing, but
there you go.
They lost me at Minecraft, so... that was enough that it actually became like a TV show, I think.
What,
it was like
Minecraft?
a Minecraft Story Mode TV show or something. A kids show, yeah.
God.
I think they're B, because we just don't know. Like, they've got runs on the board, but also we don't know what this new era is like. Wolf Among Us 2 is getting like, I saw it exchange on the newly launched Threads platform the other day. There was one PR girl that I follow, and I won't out her, but she does some work for Telltale. And Jeff Keighley put out a tweet. A thread. Fuck, this new language. put out a thread talking about
Let's
something.
just say
Sorry,
a post.
yeah, he put out a post about Gamescom opening night live, and she responded saying, "Well, I've already called you about what we're going to show." Or something along those lines. I'm gonna have to find it out without outing. Not that it probably matters at this point because I'm more or less outing her anyway. People could go and search this whenever they wanted at this point. But where are you? There you are. Jeff Keighley posted, "Which games would you like to see on stage at Gamescom opening night live?" The response was the one I called you about, winky face. She's like, I know what this person does in terms of the PR stuff, and it is kind of diverse. Like, she does not just do Telltale. It feels like she's kind of got that gun for hire thing. Like, I worked with her on the PR front for Kenner Bridge of Spirits, for example, and that's not Telltale. But she's doing work for Telltale for The Expanse, and The Wolf Among Us 2 is right there at this point. So I feel like Wolf Among Us 2 is about to show up in like a month from now. But yeah, B probably still at the moment, right?
B.
Yeah, they've got to reprove themselves. And the last one's weird because actually I didn't even notice them in the list when we were talking about Bethesda before. But ZeniMax Online is the Elder Scrolls Online team. So I guess it's really just how do you feel about Elder Scrolls Online?
Never played it, so there's no NA there. But people like it.
Yeah, it's like Matt Hewson won't shut up about it, and I've got it installed and are keen to play. I just need to find
He
the
doesn't
opportunity.
talk about it so much that he cooks food for him.
That's true too. Oh, I accidentally dragged him into the D category. Oh, I can't get him out of
no.
there now. I can't get him back into the main thing. But I feel like they're an A or B though, because like the game's amazing. It's like chess. We can't commit the time to it, but that's purely because it takes a lot of time. A, B,
Hey, A.
you're right. There
It's
we go.
definitely not B rank, I wouldn't think.
No, I don't think that. Yeah, because they're not performing badly at all. They haven't had a slip up with it. Hell, they even went free to play for people just to make it even more appealing. So I'll read everything out. We'll go tier by tier. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. So at the D tier, we've got DICE and we've got Mojang, whatever. C tier is Deep Silver, Rare, 343 Industries, and the broader Microsoft Studios, which is probably harsh, but they'll get there. The B tier, we've got Sega, 2K, Epic Games, Bandai Namco, Activision, Ubisoft, EA, BioWare, Gearbox, WB, and Telltale Games.
Holy moly, that's a lot of Bs.
The A tier,
That's where they should be.
yeah. Look, the only one I'm having second thoughts about is Microsoft. Maybe that should be in the B, but whatever. The A tier is Valve, Blizzard, CD Projekt Red, Arc System Works, Treyarch, id, Rocksteady, pending, Square Enix, ZeniMax Online, and their S tier, the best in the business, PlayStation Studios, but also Insomniac and Naughty Dog, Bethesda, Bungie, Capcom, Obsidian, Rockstar, and everything Nintendo does.
Yep. I agree with all those S tier ones.
So yeah, that's all she wrote for that one. What do you think about it?
I'd say it's pretty good. Maybe
I feel like it's pretty good considering
we
what
may
we
be
had
a little
to contend
bit.
with.
I say may have been a bit harsh on Microsoft, but hey, you release some games, we can put you in a pending. Maybe we can swap
the potential is
you
right there. Like they're like the C plus down to a C thing, and they're right like on the point of exploding. I think in all the like some of those games that they showcased the other month was amazing. So I'm keen to see them all. All right, so we'll wrap things up there then. Let us know, please, if you're watching or listening, you've got some other tier maker lists you want us to have a crack at. Let us know. We'll see what we can do with them. Obviously, if they're like hundreds of games long or something like that, we're not going to do it. It takes too long. But let us know anyway.
I did find another tier maker of game controllers. I did think
that'd be a cool one. But there's probably heaps. There'd be a lot. We wouldn't be stopping to chat much. It'd be like, shout out a letter, average of the two, boom, go straight in. That's it. Move on. If you enjoyed this episode of Patch, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. All the buttons down below. Hit the notification bell. That way you're alerted to every new video the moment it goes live on the channel. That includes Patched, Player 2 Plays, Gamer School, and a whole bunch more. Visit the website, player2.net.au, for reviews, previews, opinion pieces, news, features, links to the podcast series, Patched, the Player 2 Pixelcast, and Dev Diary. A little shout out on the Dev Diary front. The Patreon that I've been banging on about for 6 months is about to go live this Thursday. So please consider supporting the show. If you've got I don't know, even the cost of one coffee for the entire month would get you early access to Dev Diary. It'll help fuel Dev Diary Next Gen, which I've got a few episodes recorded for, so people are going to be able to access them imminently as well. Lots of cool stuff on the Dev Diary front, so go check that out. We're on the site is on Patreon, patreon.com/player2au. Get a few bucks, lower tiers early access, high tiers monthly episode exclusives, and finally there's Twitter, Matto
Matto_Phil.
Paul James Games for myself on that, and I shouted out Threads before. You can catch me there as well. The website is player2au, and until next week, let us know if you vehemently disagree with anything that we've just suggested for this tier maker, and we'll quietly flip you off in the comments. But otherwise, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you later.